Welcome to a new video from EU Droneport. In the world of drone operations, safety takes a center stage. Imagine the SORA model as your guide, sorting operations into two categories, controlled and uncontrolled. But what does this mean for real-world drone missions? In this video, we'll unravel the importance of defining and examining specific zones before each flight, factoring in all the unique aspects of the journey. We'll also discuss how these zones can be tailored to suit specific scenarios, like navigating a drone in a stadium. So, let's dive in. First, we will look at type of operations. The SORA model divides drone operations into two types, controlled operations and uncontrolled operations. Controlled operations are like the gold standard of drone flights. These are situations where the pilot always has the upper hand in controlling the aircraft. Ideally, all our drone operations should fit into this category because it means we're keeping risks to a minimum. However, life isn't always perfect, and there are times when things don't go as planned. Within controlled operations, we can break things down into two main flavors. 1. Normal operations. This is the sweet spot where everything is going just as expected, and we're following our standard procedures. It's like flying in the perfect zone we've mapped out for our drone. 2. Abnormal operations. This is when our drone decides to wander a bit, maybe outside of its designated flight zone. It hasn't gone completely rogue, but it's not where we want it to be. In these cases, we've got contingency procedures in place to steer it back on track. And then there are those unexpected situations, like someone strolling into our flight zone while we're in the middle of a mission. In these cases, we've got specific procedures to handle the unexpected safely. Uncontrolled situations are like those heart-pounding moments when your drone seems to have a mind of its own. You're no longer in the driver's seat, and time becomes your enemy because the longer you're out of control, the riskier things get. Imagine you've already tried to bring your drone back on track using backup plans, but none of them worked. Now, it's like your drone has gone rogue and is wandering into areas it shouldn't, like a drone rebel. This is when you switch to full emergency mode. In these emergency procedures, your main mission is to keep your drone from going where it shouldn't, especially places with people or no-fly zones. It's all about regaining control and preventing any potential accidents or trouble. In the previous part, we discussed the steps you need to take in different zones during a drone operation. But here's the thing. How do we actually figure out these zones before each flight? First, operational volume. Think of the operational volume as the safe zone where our drone can do its thing. It's like a playground consisting of two parts, the flight geography and the contingency volume. Second, flight geography. Flight geography is basically the area where you're flying your drone as part of your regular operation. It could be a specific flight path or just a larger area depending on what you're doing. Third, contingency volume. The contingency volume is like a safety zone around your regular flying area, flight geography. If your drone ends up in this zone, it's usually because something unexpected happened. But don't worry, there are special procedures to get it back to the safe zone. To figure out the contingency volume, we need to consider things like how accurate your drone's GPS is, how fast you can react as the pilot, and how quickly your drone can respond. So even though it's not a typical situation, you've still got a grip on your drone while it's in this area. Fourth, ground risk buffer. The ground risk buffer is like a last resort zone. It's located outside of where you typically fly your drone, and it's there just in case things go really wrong. In this zone, it's considered safe for your drone to crash without endangering anyone else. To determine the right size for this buffer, we consider factors like how fast you can react to an emergency, how far the drone might travel if it crashes with a parachute, the strongest wind it can handle without going off course, and even the type of drone you're using. Different drones might need different buffer sizes. And last, adjacent area. Think of the adjacent area as the space right outside the safe zone, kind of like your backyard after the fence. It's the area that comes right after the ground risk buffer on the ground and after the contingency volume in the air. Here, we're looking at the level of risk compared to what we find in the main safety zones. There are two scenarios. 1. The risk in the adjacent area is lower than what we see in the main safety zone. 2. The risk in the adjacent area is higher than what we find in the main safety zone. If the risk is higher in the adjacent area, we need to step up our safety game with extra precautions. But if the risk isn't higher, the usual safety measures will do. For example, if there's an airport nearby, lots of people, or a bustling city, we definitely need to take extra precautions in that adjacent area. Take a look at this picture, and it'll all make sense. Imagine you're planning a drone flight inside a sports stadium. This image shows you how we'd carve out different areas for a safe operation within the stadium. Flight geography, green zone. This is where we plan the flight, and we use normal procedures here. Contingency volume, yellow zone. This is our backup zone, and we apply abnormal procedures here to bring the aircraft back into the planned flight area. Ground risk buffer, red zone. If things go really wrong, and we need to end the flight immediately, we use emergency procedures in this area. We always make sure the aircraft stays inside the stadium to avoid harming anyone outside. The goal is to keep the flight safe and controlled within these zones. So, in this video, you've learned about different zones for drone operations and what procedures apply in each. Sometimes, like in the stadium example, we adapt these zones to fit the area's unique features, ensuring the drone never leaves the defined space. In other cases, like rural areas with less risk, we can expand these zones as needed, letting the flight geography guide our contingency and emergency areas. The key is to plan for safety in every operation. For more information regarding tips for understanding flight geography, visit eudroneport.com or click the link in the description. Safe flights.